That's the man, the myth. That's Chad doing back there. I'm not even prepped for the show.
Just to let you all know behind the scenes, I've been hogging the microphone and the space so Chris couldn't get in. It's my bad.
It was. I'm not even logged into the computer. How am I supposed to read the text line? 88528, by the way. Send us your text. I'll find a way to read them. My password's too long to even type in during one segment.
I want your take on Vit Krejci, baby. Give it to me.
Even when the show starts, he won't give you the mic. This guy's unbelievable. Except he can hold it over my head that he's giving me more mic time than anybody on the face of the planet prior to this. So he owns me. I'm his. Welcome into Courtside Monday. Chris Burkhart here with you. Having a little bit of fun today. Obviously, Chad's in a great mood. I'm in a great mood. It feels a little bit weird to be sitting here talking basketball on a off day. So used to talking about Blazers game day in the fifth quarter, but no, we get a little bit of an off day today. Blazers will be back in action tomorrow, 8 o'clock tip against the Phoenix Suns, meaning I will have Blazers game day for you starting at 6 p.m. But in the meantime, there is still plenty to talk about when it comes to your Portland Trailblazers. How about the fact that Denny Avdia is a first incredible this season? How about the fact that the Blazers got incredible this season? How about the fact that the Blazers got Blake Wesley back last night? That was pretty cool to see. We'll talk about that today. He didn't skip a beat, really. You got to give him credit for that. How about the fact that, unfortunately, for the lovers of Dwight Parith, the Blazers shipped him off to Atlanta in a deal yesterday. I think Blazer fans will miss him, but Vit Krejci is coming to Portland, a guy who is a career 40% three-point shooter, hasn't shot worse than 40% over the last 3 seasons. Exactly what the Blazers need. And how about the fact that our Trailblazers insider, Sean Hyken, you can follow him at the Rose Garden Report. He was at practice today, and he said, Scoot Henderson said today at practice that he feels, quote, amazing. And today he went through everything and felt physically like he could keep going. Wouldn't say whether he's going to play tomorrow. That's up to the medical staff. Well, then the PR team did release their day before tip-off injury report. Scoot Henderson listed as doubtful, which, as weird as it sounds, is an upgrade. That is an upgrade because he's no longer just listed as out. He is listed as doubtful. And if he follows the trends of what we saw when Drew Holiday came back, when Jeremy Grant came back, odds are he'll play Friday. That's what it feels like. He'll play Friday. So on Friday, you're probably going to get the return of Scoot Henderson, first game of the season. You're probably going to get Vit Krejci, who I don't think will play tomorrow. Just getting to town. Still got to go through all the physicals and stuff and make sure he's ready to go. And that would be a super, super quick turnaround for him to get in and get on the floor tomorrow. I would definitely expect him to be a go for Friday's game. That'll still be awesome to see. But overall, pretty good week of Blazer news off the court. On the court, not so much, because it has been a rough go for your Trailblazers since we last talked on Courtside. 5 games in a row now this team has lost. They lost to Toronto to end their homestand. They went on the road. They lost to Boston. They lost to Washington. That's one that really hurts because Washington went into that game as one of the worst teams in the entire NBA. And they got a W over the Blazers. That one stings. Stings just a little bit. And then they lost to New York. Then you come back home and you get the Cleveland Cavaliers, which you know is going to be a rough game. We're talking about the Cleveland team that's top 5 in the Eastern Conference. And the Blazers take a loss on that one too. And that hurts. But that was a stretch of games where you're facing 4 of the top 5 teams in the Eastern Conference. You knew losses were going to happen. Now the schedule hopefully gets a little bit easier. Phoenix is beatable. So hopefully you get a little oomph there. And then Friday when you get Scoot and you likely get Vit Krejci, it's going to be pretty awesome. Absolutely awesome. Now, we have a texter here already asking. It says, hey, Chris, Chad, would you rather have Scoot or Love if you could only have one? And the answer to that is complex. It depends on the team and their makeup. And I'll tell you this. I love Caleb Love, no pun intended. I think he has certainly proven that he's an NBA basketball player. And he's going to continue to carve out this niche as a sixth man type. I think he's built in like that Jamal Crawford mold, that Manu Ginobili mold. He can be just a pure off the bench, give you a spark, score buckets like he did in that game against Cleveland last night. But if you're asking me which one would I rather have if I can only have one, on this team in particular, it's Scoot. Because what is this team missing the most, especially when Denny Avdia is out? Yes, I know they need shooting, and that's what Caleb Love can do. But he can also be streaky. And it's not as if Scoot Henderson's terrible there. But what they are missing is someone that they can trust to handle the ball and run the offense, a true point guard. That's where Scoot is going to be so valuable. I can't wait to see him play to see if what I've talked about holds true, but I do feel that he has proven his worth even without playing a single game this year. We all talked about how he needed to make this big jump and be the guy. I think he's proven right now. He just needs to control the offense, and he'll be fine. He'll be fine. And maybe getting next year, getting a year with Dame will help him become even better. But if I could only have one, I would take Scoot Henderson for that reason alone. Not to mention he does not give up a ton of size and length defensively. I think he can be a plus on that end. Offensively, he's going to drive to the basket. That's one of his strengths. He needs to do it more. He hasn't done it enough in the past few seasons. And again, hopefully he's ready to go. But you've also seen how this team is built, how effective Denny Avdia is at doing that. And Scoot Henderson's that big guard that can drive to the basket, get through guys, get contact, and get to the line, and hopefully hit those free throws at a high clip. So if I could only take one, I would take Scoot. Now, I just don't believe I live in a world where I only have to have one, and I would like to have Scoot Henderson and Caleb Love both available. Thank you for that question. And I don't think you're wrong if you're on Team Caleb Love right now. I think that Scoot's definitely proven through his time here that he's a legit NBA player. It's not as if Scoot has been like a complete bust. Now, I do think when people compare him to being the third overall pick, that they're like, okay, he needs to be better. He needs to offer more. But it's not as if he's been a bust of a basketball player. He's a good basketball player. Now, Love, on the other hand, was kind of discounted and no one really gave him the chance. And here he is, proving that he's also a good basketball player. That's factual. Patrick is in the chat. He's just trying to fire me up. He's going to comment as many times as he can to see till I latch on something. And he's saying Scoot Henderson is a bust. And again, that is just not, that's not true. Like, what is a bust? A bust to me is someone who gets drafted high and then proves that they can't hack it in the NBA. Anthony Bennett was a bust. Greg Oden wasn't a bust. His body betrayed him. Everyone goes, oh, no, they passed on Kevin Durant. No, go back to that point in time. 99% of people were on the Greg Oden train. Scoot's not a bust. We're talking about he's 2 years in. This year has been terrible because he's been injured. But he's averaging 13 points, 5 assists, 3 boards for his career. It's not terrible. I think one thing that we have seen is that guys coming straight from the G League Ignite weren't all it. But that's not a bust. I think he's a good basketball player. And to do that, because he's 21 years old, too. Now, you can try to poke the bear. You're good at that. But no, I would not label Scoot Henderson a bust yet, because I do think in the 2 years he's played, and I thought last year, especially the way he ended it, he's proven he can play in this league. Just maybe not to the level we all expected or wanted with the level at which he was drafted. But that's just not always the case. Sometimes a high first-round pick plays more like a mid-first-round pick. Sometimes an undrafted player plays like they should have been a first-round pick. Looking at you, Caleb Love. So it's all relative there. But no, definitely wouldn't label him a bust. And I'm very excited to see him get on the court on Friday, which we're assuming that is when it would be. If he doesn't play tomorrow, it's going to be one of those games for sure. And again, Patrick did chime in. A bust is Greg Oden. No, he's not. Greg Oden was not a bust. The guy's body betraying him and being injured is not a bust. That is a guy who was injured. A bust is a guy who cannot play. A guy that you scratch your head as to why was he drafted that high. Not a guy who played and when he was healthy, when his body did not betray him, Greg Oden was dominant. Go back and watch. I know I'm a little older than you. I know you might have still been wearing diapers, but he could play. He could absolutely play. When the body betrays you, it becomes bad. Markelle Fultz was not a bust, he says. His body betrayed him. Markelle Fultz, his stat line, at what point did he prove that he was just a pure baller, though? Like, he is good. Like, but he's number 1 overall pick, and he couldn't shoot. He got the yips. The mad yips. Got to give him props for sticking it together and finding it out in Orlando there for a season or two. But boy, howdy, that guy never really went anywhere that you thought the number 1 overall pick would be. But again, he had a little flash there where he proved he was an NBA player. He just couldn't shoot the ball for some reason. That was weird. Really weird that he got the yips. Then there was Ben Simmons, who coming into the draft, everyone knew he didn't have a jump shot. And then they were shocked when he got to the NBA and didn't have a jump shot. Like, what? Did you not watch LSU basketball? He was a freak athlete. He could get to the rim and create a little bit of space, but he wasn't a knockdown three-point shooter or a mid-range jumper guy. He had no shot. Then he gets to the NBA, and you're like, oh, wow. Shocked that the guy has no jump shot. If only we knew. You knew there was tape on that. But no, I would not consider Greg Oden a bust. Greg Oden just had knees that said no thanks, which is unfortunate because that core of him and Roy and Aldridge played real well together. Real well. Now, that is old Blazer news, though, my friend. I want to try to focus on what's going on right now. I'm excited for Scoot Henderson. I'm not going to let you bring me down. Scoot Henderson getting onto the floor on Friday is going to be really awesome. Chance to see the prize point guard that this team drafted just a few seasons ago, who has not lived up to the full expectation bestowed upon him. But I do think it's going to be good to see him play. Now, hopefully he makes the jump that we all want. Now, next year becomes interesting because is he still your bench guy? Because you got Dame and whatnot. And you know what? Maybe he is. I don't know. All I know is I am rooting for Scoot Henderson. Can't wait to see him get on the floor. Between him and Vit Krejci, it's going to be a fun weekend. Who's Vit Krejci, you ask? You sit there and you're like, Chris, they said this guy's name a couple times. Vit Krejci? Who the heck is he talking about? Well, you know what? We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Vit Krejci and the trade that landed him in Portland yesterday. What does it mean for this Blazers team? What does it mean for some move? A bad move? A monstrous move? Does it move the needle at all? A good move? A bad move? A monstrous move? Does it move the needle at all? We'll talk about it. We'll let you know when we return from break here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Courtside Monday. Chris Burkhardt here with you. If you want to join the conversation, 50youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio and join the chat. 28 or go to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio and join the chat there. We're getting a couple chatters talking about the NBA trade deadline. Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, those are some names that have been rumored to be out there. And I don't know what the Blazers' true prospects are or what their plan is. I do know that they covet trying to get Caleb Love and City Sissoko locked up. They want them on actual NBA deals because they've been playing so well. I know there's some people looking at what the Knicks have to offer, and no, I don't know if I want Karl Anthony Towns. I don't know if I want Mikal Bridges. How would they fit? How would they do this? How would they do that? And I understand the apprehension, but at some point, too, if you want the team to take a swing, you got to let them take a swing. You got to let them take a swing. At some point, you got to let them do it and not be afraid of what happens and the what ifs. Now, if you got rid of Drew Holiday, Jeremy Grant, and Matisse Thybulle, which is what one of our chatters was saying, I believe that was Kirk. You know, you didn't touch any of your young guys, which I would pretty sure the teams involved would want some young assets. Maybe you're sending, guys like Matisse, who's on an expiring, going to Milwaukee, and Jeremy's going there, and Drew's going to New York, and Giannis is going to New York, and so like there's so many moving parts there. But if you got Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges back without touching your core, I wouldn't argue that that was necessarily bad at the end of the day. Don't add a lot of money to the books. Karl Anthony Towns has a fat contract, but you can play him at the 4. You can move Denny to the 2. Or to the 3, excuse me. You can play Karl and DC together. Not a problem. Not a problem at all. I'll tell you one thing about Karl Anthony Towns. I think he can go toe-to-toe with Jared Allen, which is not what DC did last night. I love Donovan Clingan. Lots of upside with that guy. He got cooked by Jared Allen yesterday. Cooked. Jared Allen had 40 points, 17 boards. Cooked. Karl Anthony Towns is one of the best shooting bigs in the league. Again, something the Blazers miss. Shooting. Also, very good on the glass. Better than Jeremy, Drew, and Matisse. Him and DC together, that's 20 rebounds a game on average by just themselves. Mikal Bridges, I think, would be a great fit. It's all about where you put him then at that point, because then you start creating log jams. That's the bad part. What about Tumani Kamara? What about Mikal Bridges? I mean, you probably put Mikal Bridges in the starting lineup. So is Tumani okay being a sixth man? Is Karl Anthony Towns your starting center because you want to continue to play Denny Avdia at power forward? Those are questions you'd have to ask in that scenario, 100%. But of course, you cross that bridge when you get there, type stuff. Same with Giannis. It does change things, but he's one of the best players on the planet. And I know you get people who are worried about injuries and what could happen there. But again, worrying about the what ifs can put you in a weird spot. Dirt Monk says, we're scared of swinging. Want to walk for a change. Well, here's the thing. The walk gets you on first base. That's nice. It doesn't get you to home. Everyone else has to work to get you to home. But if you swing hard and you hit one over the fence, you get to trot. You get to trot. All the way around, you get to score. Made an impact. I think that is what we need here. At some point, you got to make that big move. You got to make that big move. It's just tough to do. The Blaze, like I said, this whole Giannis thing, do I think the Blazers are going to get Giannis? I do not. But the fact that there's even a rumor out there that the Blazers could be interested and have assets to get it done, it's kind of a breath of fresh air, right? It's like, it's nice to see that they're in that mode. Now, Dirt Mock Fritz, he says, not trading and developing Love and City is walking. Hopefully, they get all the way around right. Need a home run. There you go. Thank you. I agree with the clarification. And, you gotta get all the way around. Gotta get all the way around. Now, Love and City are great. I don't know. The thing is, like, I don't know watching them play and seeing what I've seen, like, how much better does City Sissoko get? I think it's clear that he can be a rotation player or at least a very, very valuable guy to have on that bench. I think Caleb Love can get better. The ceiling is not super high, though. You have other guys on this roster like Chris Murray. I think Chris Murray is at his peak. I don't see him getting better. I think Rupert can get better. I don't know how much better. That's where you talk about, I mean, you can develop for so long, and then you gotta make that big move. So if you got Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, which again, I want to be completely clear, I'm not sourcing that. I'm not saying that's the move they want to make. I'm not saying that's the move they should make. But boy, howdy, if you made a trade and you got Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges, that's a move that Blazer fans aren't used to. It would feel awkward. You almost probably wouldn't know how to analyze it and truly feel about it. And when I say you, I'm not putting me on a pedestal different than you, the fan, because I would be, oh my gosh, what just happened? We have lived in an era as Blazer fans where the edges of our yard are beautiful because our landscapers work around the edges and make sure they look great. We're going to get Enes Kanter. We're going to get Rodney Hood on the buyout market. He's going to look beautiful. We're going to go get a guy who's my sixth man, but look, isn't he nice? But we're still going to roll Mo Harkless and Al-Farouq Aminu out there. Didn't upgrade those spots and those positions in need. Caleb Love has been absolutely incredible, and I really hope he wears the Blazer jersey for the rest of the year and on to the next. But he didn't necessarily fill those positions in need. And if you can go out there and, oh my gosh, you got a guy who can shoot the ball and a guy who can play multiple positions, guard multiple positions, and Mikal Bridges, you filled a couple positions in need. Oh, it costs a lot of money. Yeah, but you sent out a lot of money too. And in the end, it doesn't cost that much more than what you sent out. And it would feel weird. Again, how would you analyze that and feel about it? Because you would be in a position as a Blazer fan and a Blazer media reporter that you are not used to being. And that is the Blazers making a big splash in the adult pool, not kicking their feet in the kiddie pool. It'd be nice. Now, to be clear, sometimes when you work around the edges, it's not bad. Because that's part of the yard. The whole yard has to look good. If you work just the edges, but you let the middle overgrow, then you got a problem. You got to landscape the whole thing. And I think the trade that happened yesterday was one of those works towards the middle. It's not necessarily on the edge, but it works towards the middle. And the trade I'm talking about is the trade that sent Dwap Reith to Atlanta with 2 second-round picks for Vit Krejci. Who's Vit Krejci, you ask? Well, Vit Krejci is a 6'8". He's listed as a guard, but he's a 6'8" plug and play. You can put him at small forward. You can put him at the 4 in small lineups and let him roam the arc. He's a shooter, a positionless shooter. Let's just put it that way. And what I love about this move, and if Brian knows out there listening, he'd be like, oh, classic Burkhart, liking every move the Blazers make. What I like about this move is the Blazers are the worst three-point shooting team in the NBA. They do not shoot it well. They need someone who can help that. They need someone who can just hit the open shot. As much as we like Toumani Camara, as much as we love Sidy Cissoko and Caleb Love for that matter, those guys aren't just knock down, make every shot. Caleb Love's been good. But again, we've talked about it. He's been streaky, too. He has nights where he can't hit it. And the Blazers, as a team, shoot 33.6%. That is dead last in the NBA. So anytime a team who is dead last can add a guy who shoots for his career, which is 5 years deep in the NBA now, shoots 40% for his career. And over the last 3 seasons, has shot 42.7%. That's a good ad. That is a good ad. This year, he is shooting 4.423 or 42.3% on 5.2 attempts per game. That's what he does. He shoots the basketball, and he shoots it well. So I look at how this team is built right now. Now they're going to get Scoot Henderson back. That's going to impact the rotations, of course. But I also look at the position Veet plays. And like I said, I think he's more of a 2-3 or a guy you can just plug and say, hey, go in there and shoot the basketball. Last night, the team started Jeremy, Shaden Sharp, Donovan Clingan, Tumani Kamara, City Sissoko, Caleb Love, Ryan Rupert, Blake Wesley, Robert Williams, Javante Cook, and Young Hansen played on the bench. Javante and Young only played 2 minutes, so that doesn't really matter. I think Ryan Rupert, though, in that game, he got 20 minutes. I think those are Veets moving forward. And in a fully healthy roster, you get Scoot Henderson in there. Obviously, he's going to take some of Caleb Love's and Ryan Rupert's minutes. Going to take some of Blake Wesley's minutes. So I'm thinking Veet's probably going to get 15 minutes a night. Just go out there, make shots. When you need a guy to get out there and spread the floor, he does it. And again, as much as I love Caleb Love, and Scoot Henderson is going to have to earn it. Don't get me wrong. Scoot Henderson's going to have to go out there and earn a run. But I do think in that vacuum from what we've seen from Scoot versus Caleb Love, Scoot's the better player right now. Well, Scoot was the better player at the end of the year than what Caleb is right now. I don't know about right now. We haven't seen Scoot yet. We'll hopefully see him Friday. But you're getting to the point, my friends, where you are going to have questions about the rotations in the best way possible. It's not who plays because 3 of our starting 5 are out and, we don't know what to do. It's, everybody's healthy outside of Dame, really. And, now we got to really figure out who gets what minutes. It's a good problem to have. But Veet is going to be exactly what this team needs. And I'm not talking about, he's the difference between making the playoffs and not right now, but he is the difference between having nobody out there who can shoot the 3 and having someone who can. You've seen times out there where the lineup is Robert Williams and Tumani Kamara and City Sissoko and Ryan Rupert and like Caleb Love. And Caleb Love is your best scorer and best 3-point shooter, and he's been inconsistent. Well, now instead of Rupert or even City Sissoko in those minutes, you can throw a guy out there in Veet Krejci who shoots 40% from 3, and that gives you someone who can score. I like that a lot. And to be clear, like I said, I love Caleb Love, no pun intended, but he's shooting 32% from beyond the arc right now. It's a big difference between 32 and 42, which is what Veet has shot over the last 3 seasons. I like it. I like it a lot. Can't wait to see him play. Can't wait to see how he fits in with this roster moving forward. Also, if you haven't paid attention, incredibly team-friendly deal. If he can continue to shoot at that clip, that's value. I think next year he's making about $2.5 million, and the year after that, it's a $3 million deal, and it's a club option. So the team can choose to keep him around on that team-friendly deal. And I like that for a guy who's just going to come in. Again, you have one job. I don't need you to be a rebounder. I don't need you to be a defensive stopper. I don't need you to be an assist man. I need you to shoot the basketball. That's all. Yeah, next year, looking at Spotrac right now, next year, he has a cap hit of $2.6 million and then a $3 million cap hit the following year. That is a club option for 27, 28. He'll be 27 years old at that point. I like that deal a lot. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And you get him, you get Scoot, you get Blake all in the same week. Not a bad time to be a Blazer fan. Not a bad time at all. Now, getting Scoot back is going to be really, really interesting because you got to see how he fits into the lineup. Everybody's rooting for him. We all love Scoot. If you got a healthy Drew Holiday and you got Scoot and you got Caleb Love there, then you got some interesting moves to make. I think if you look at this lineup right now, if you start Drew Holiday and you start Shea, then you have obviously Scoot as a backup point guard and Love and or Veet as your backup 2. Of course, Veet can go in and be a backup 3 too, so there's some versatility there. Next year when you got Dame, it changes some things, so maybe there's still some trades down the line. This team could eventually move off of Drew so that there's no decision between he and Scoot. We'll see, but right now there's going to be room, and I cannot wait to see it. Speaking of which, When you start to ramp up in your recovery, and it's rumored that you'll be getting back to the court for the first time in the 2025-2026 NBA season, you get a rare chance to talk to the media. He hasn't talked to the media a lot this year. Hasn't been a reason to. But at practice today, he did. Let's take a listen.
What were you able to do today in practice? Whole thing?
Yeah, whole thing. Just had film at first, and then little 3-on-3, 1-on-1. Yep.
Who'd you go 3-on-3 versus?
Just JC, Hansen. Chiefs was kind of in, not really. He wasn't really too much into it, but who else? LB, some of the coaches, Ty, yeah.
So how are you feeling, like physically right now?
I feel amazing. I feel amazing. Feeling shape. Obviously nothing compared to NBA game shape, but a few minutes, my first win, feel good.
You expect to play tomorrow?
Man, I expect to play every day, but I'm just, blessed to have opportunity to even be around my team right now and showing up to the games. And like I said, I expect to play all the time, but I'm just leaving that up to the coaching staff, to the staff, medical staff, just leaving it up to everybody else.
What are the benchmarks that you have to cross before you can return if you're not sure if you're going to play tomorrow?
Like I said, the 3-on-3, I was kind of pretty much past a lot of the benchmarks. Me and Doc Green, we have a little sheet that we kind of cross out every time I hit an accomplishment, and that's just the 3-on-3 contact, whatever, getting up and down, workouts, stuff like that.
Where's your shape at right now, your wind?
I feel good.
Yeah.
I feel good. Today was honestly one of my first days. I'm like, okay, I can keep going now. I keep playing even longer. So, yeah, today I felt great.
How long has it been that you've been able to do any of that kind of stuff?
A few weeks now, just getting up and down, getting my wind back. Obviously, weight room, just staying in shape, trying to keep my weight.
How about your rhythm? Obviously, it might take a little bit of time. But how do you feel in terms of kind of like the flow of the game?
I feel good, man. Just watching a lot, seeing all the guys get up and down, and seeing what we need as a team. That's a little more pace. And you see Blake last night just bringing that, incorporating that back into our offense, and Drew does a good job at it. So do a lot of other guys, but I think that's something that we gotta continue to get better at, and picking up full, keep making everybody uncomfortable.
Does the fact that you guys have dropped 5 in a row, does that make you more eager to get back out there and give them a lift right now?
Man, eager is not even a word at this point. Man, I've been past eager the whole season, so when I get back out there, it just be another blessing. Another blessing to get out there.
You seem like a supremely optimistic guy. I imagine there have been some difficult moments over the last 4 months.
Indeed, man, indeed.
Where would you describe those? Like, what was some of the lower moments?
Man, just another stepping stone, another obstacle that God has prepared me for, and that He has thrown at me, and give me the courage and strength to get past. And man, I give all my worry to Him, and I feel great at the end of it. So, man, we're here now. Time has passed, and like I said, man, He just pushed me through all those nights where I'm just frustrated and asking why. But like I said, just giving my worries to Him. I feel amazing.
You talked about kind of what the team needs. What have been your thoughts about kind of the way the team's performed this season, and a little more in depth? How do you think you might be able to help them out?
Yeah, I feel like we've been performing really well. I think we're even better than when we're playing, especially right now. Anybody can say that, but as somebody that's kind of been in those times where we're winning and watching those games we've won early on in the season, seeing how well we can play. And I think a whole bunch. I think we can have a little bit better spacing. More guys can attack. CD can attack more, bringing the ball up. He's kind of our point forward. So, like I said, pace, picking up full, just having that intensity the whole 48-plus minutes. And yeah, I think just me bringing that energy of cheering my teammates on, giving that confidence to my teams, whether we missing shots, making shots, getting a stop, not getting a stop. I think I could bring that.
What is that process like, reintegrating with the team midway into the season? Is that difficult to kind of find your spot with them?
I try not to think about that too much, but that is something that's going to be a challenge, I think. But man, I'm the player that kind of just can be thrown in any type of fire and understand the role and understand what I bring to the table and have confidence in that role. So I feel like my teammates believe in me and coming back, and that's all I can ask for real.
So last season around this time was when you guys really started to catch fire. Does that experience give you confidence that you still have plenty of time for
Heck
you
yeah.
yourself to make your mark on this season?
Yeah. Like I said, team sport. So I'm just trying to get back out there so we can get some more wins. Going into second half of the season after playoff, whatever, after the All-Star break, whatever. So just trying to get some wins before we go there and after.
Your thoughts on seeing Danny be named an All-Star yesterday?
Man, fire. I mean, we kind of knew that already because having the year he's having, but a couple days leading up to it, we like, you gonna make it? He like, trying to be a humble guy, but we like, bro, it's all right, but you don't gotta do that around here. You know what I'm saying? So had that confidence, but man, I'm super happy for Denny, and all the work he's been putting on, it's just been showing. Summertime killing, now he's just killing. So just rooting for him. He knows that.
So do you legit not know if you're going to be able to play or win, or are you just not allowed to say?
I legit don't know. I'm just leaving it up to the team. Yeah.
So how will you find out? Like the day before or the morning of, or you TBD?
Shit, whenever, TBD.
Yeah.
Whenever they tell me, I'll be ready. Know that though.
Would tomorrow be a little extra nice for you though, in light of what day it is?
I don't know. I hope that's my birthday. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Oh, there you hear from Scoot Henderson. And one of my favorite parts of that was he was asked by Connor of Blazers Edge, like, this is about last year. The team got hot and started playing some of their best basketball. Does that, give you the confidence you can get in? And like he cuts him off. He's like, oh, heck yeah. Yeah. Like this guy's ready to get on the court, which is awesome. And I also love that question there. Sean asked him about Denny Avdia because Scoot, there's no ego there, man. He talked about I can play anywhere. I can be ready to go. You can plug me in. I'll play my role. And then genuinely, if you watch the clip on YouTube, like he's smiling. He's happy for the success of his teammates. And that's the type of player you want in that locker room. I cannot wait to see him get back on the court. And right now, gut feeling, we don't have an exact answer, but it feels like Friday against Memphis will be that day. This is Blazers Courtside. Almost said game day out of habit. Chris Burkhardt here with you. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to look ahead to some of those games that are coming up because this schedule does get a little bit easier for your Trailblazers moving forward. Can they get the wins they need to stay firmly in this play-in race with teams like Dallas and Memphis right behind them looking to creep in? We'll talk about it when we return here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into Courtside. Oh, that's an interesting little available tomorrow. So there we go. That's an interesting little wrinkle, as it were. Going to be nice to see him, and of course, it'll be nice to see Scoot on Friday. And shout out to Rip City Mike, who is calling me out. Says, Chris, boy, howdy, are you wrong? Greg Oden was definitely a bust. And again, I completely disagree with that. I think a guy who was injured and his body said no way is a guy who was injured. A bust to me is to say a guy cannot play the game of basketball, is not good, is not a top player, is not a guy who's even capable of being a rotation guy. Guys who are out of the league because their skills don't match what they thought. That final year in Portland, when he got hurt, which is so unfortunate, he was averaging 11, 8, and 2.3 blocks. Defensively, he was a monster. He was going to work on the glass. He was scoring points, and he was only playing 23 minutes a night. Greg Oden could play. Nothing about Oden's game to me screamed bust. However, he was injured. And I just don't consider those to be in the same category. I think those are two different things. Absolutely two different things. We can agree to disagree on that. I just have a hard time saying someone was a bust and couldn't play the game of basketball when their skills proved otherwise. He was just injured. You look at Sam Bowie. Sam Bowie gets nailed too because of the whole Michael Jordan thing. But prior to that injury, he was 16 points, 6 boards, 2 block shots in that final season, 5 games with Portland before he got hurt. Prior to that, he had some ups and downs. But then after that, he still became a pretty serviceable rotation big man in the NBA. There with New Jersey, averaged 13 points, 8.2 rebounds, 1.6 blocks. Maybe not necessarily a bust, but just didn't pan out the way people thought. But people also act like Sam Bowie didn't have a career and wasn't serviceable. He had a moment there where he was decent. Busts to me are guys who cannot play, who you pick them and you're like, what is going on? And then they prove that for some reason they don't have what it takes. When you are Anthony Bennett and you're taking number 1 overall and then you average 4.4 points for your 4-year career before you're kicked out of the league and you played for 4 teams in those 4 seasons because you couldn't figure it out, that's a bust. Greg Oden could play, Mike. Greg Oden could play. It sucks so bad that he was injured. Do injuries make you an automatic bust? Is Brandon Roy a bust because his knees gave out and he didn't get to fill out his entire career? Is Brandon Roy a bust? Let's just be completely honest. No, Chris, he got injured. Brandon Roy played 5 seasons for Portland before his body gave out. 5 seasons for a lottery pick who was, pretty good. Oh, he was an all-star. He was this, yeah. But by the same metric, his body gave out. He's not a bust because he proved he could play. Greg Oden proved he could play. Greg Oden just got hurt. And I hate it. Come to terms with all that Greg Oden has found his happy. Come to terms with all that Greg Oden has found his happy. And I'm glad that Greg Oden has come back and embraced Portland. And I will tell you what, that day that he came back to Portland, they put him on the big screen and they gave him an ovation and you could see the smile on his face. I'm so glad the city of Portland showed him love. He needed that. Wish he would have never got hurt because, again, he could play, Mike. Thank you for the comment, though. I appreciate you. I appreciate your opinion. You don't always have to agree to have fun sports conversation. That's what makes sports conversation fun. Thank you so much. Dirtmock says, Embiid isn't an all-star. Just saying. Probably should be. Just unlikable. He's really flipping good. He's really good. Kind of like Greg when healthy. Shout out to Shacker over here. Drop it like it's hot. That's the Scoot theme song. Hopefully we see him on Friday. Sounds like we'll see Krejci tomorrow, and I'll have Blazers game day for you starting at 6 as the Blazers take on the Suns. I got to get out of here, but as always, Rip City, I love you.